Can Anybody Hear Me actually was birthed from my second book, Can Anybody Hear Me, which was written in play form, and I brought it to the stage at Monroe Community College 2008. It's a book geared to the teens keeping a secret of being sexually abused. And a lot of teens don't know that they can get help or they can go for help. Why Did You Hurt Me, Stepdaddy was my first book that I've written. Being a child, 5 years old, I was molested in my mother's home, and she never knew that myself and my other sisters were abused by my stepfather. And my last three sisters, their biological father. My mother never knew till I was 28 years old, and I had two little girls. And what made me tell that day was my mother asked the question. She wanted to know, how did I feel if she would let my stepfather come back home? And I'm 28 at this time. And his name, anything he did or anything, it wasn't mentioned ever until that day. You know, we never talked about him. We never talked about our abuse. We never talked about him point blank. But that day she asked me, how did I feel if stepdaddy came back to live with us? And I blew up because I had two little girls. One was 2 years old and the other was 4 years old. And what I know now, you know, and is what I know then, he wasn't coming back to hurt my children as he did myself and my other sisters. I used to be so overprotective of my two little girls, even from my husband, and which was their father. And that right there, I thought my marriage was going to end because of my protectiveness of my children from my husband, because of what I had to encounter growing up, what I had encountered rather growing up. And to this day right here, you know, I'm thankful and I'm grateful of the husband that I have. He was understanding of my abuse. I'm kind of jumping around. He was understanding of how I was reacting because of my abuse. Going through sexual abuse. As a kid, you know how you're taught, if a grown person tell you to do something, you're supposed to do it. Or if you didn't do it, you were being disobedient. Well, at the time, 5 years old, what did I know? I knew my ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors, and you know, I didn't know all of the rights from all of the wrong. But I knew that my stepfather was telling me to come get in the bed, to do things to him. But as I grew older, I knew it was wrong. And going into my teens and everything, I remember me being depressed because I was suppressing a secret that wasn't supposed to be a secret at all. I was suppressing being sexually abused. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. When I walked in a room at times, I would think people were talking about me. I thought people were laughing at me, whispering, because, you know, I had that guilt from being abused, and I never shared it with anyone until I was 16 years old. I feel like I am more than a conqueror. I know I am. I've gone through being sexually abused. I've reached out now to use what hurt me as a healing circle and a help tool for someone else. And I have formed a ministry, and it's called Can Anybody Hear Me? And we reach out to the misused and abused. Can Anybody Hear Me ministry offers help to the misused and abused, mainly hope, because when you go through something like that, a traumatic experience like that, you think, okay, this is the end of the road. Or you're in a dark tunnel and you don't see a light, you don't even see an ounce of light shining bright so you can just walk out and say, I'm free. A lot of people lose hope because of what happened to them, because of the embarrassment and because of the shame. And a lot of people blame themselves, as I did. I used to blame myself because I couldn't tell anyone. It was too embarrassing. But we offer help. We offer open arms to people. We do not judge anyone because you are not your issue.
My name is Christopher Brown. In a lot of ways, particularly the one I just passed, I had the opportunity to be one of the speakers, and first time really speaking out about my experience. And it was really an experience. It was a very uplifting experience. I mean, it's like a ton of weight came off of my shoulder, because I've never shared what happened to me in my life. And I was walking around with a lot of shame and embarrassment. But this conference really talked about set me free. It did, yes. In the beginning, before I got there, I was a little hesitant about coming because I didn't know how I was going to be received. But once I got there, it was wonderful. I mean, the atmosphere was beautiful, inviting. Yes, it made me feel like I could do this. Yeah. What it meant to me is finally gave me a voice. Because going through these experiences, particularly as a child, you feel nobody will listen to you or hear you or believe you. So I think the title of this conference is very conducive to our experience, and it gives us a voice.
We are not our issue. We didn't ask for it. You know, it happened to us for a reason, and we say, oh my God, why did this happen? But again, why not? Because as I said, here I am. I'm changing lives. Here I am making a difference in this box of people that's shut down because they can't see the light of day. Some people stay in their house and don't want to come out. Some people, like I did, think people are talking about them and they're not. They could be saying something nice to the other person about, you know, you that walk in the room and feel as I did. But Can Anybody Hear Me is here to reach you. We're here to help you. You know, we do have counselors. We do have people that's willing to help you. I mean, I'm not a counselor as far as, you know, got a license, but my experience is my teacher, and I can tell you that there's hope. There's help. There's not, it's not the end. You don't have to cry, you know, in shame. You don't have to be bitter about your own self because you're not your abuser and because you're not, like I said, your issue. And that's the thing. A lot of people think, okay, I did this to myself, or I asked for this to happen, or I can't tell anybody because nobody will believe me. But we believe you. We hear you crying. We hear your silent cries. We hear your want to get out, but you can't. We hear what you really want, and we want to help you to your destiny.
Hi, my name is Becky James. Can Anybody Hear Me conferences has helped me in several different ways. It actually opened up a dialogue to begin to speak about things that happened in my past. And I think it's a great platform for people to come and hear other people's story, learn that you are not alone in things that happen to you, or Sometimes you feel isolated and you just can't talk to just anybody about it. So Can Anybody Hear Me has opened up that box where it gives you the opportunity to hear that somebody else has been through the same thing that you've been through. And yes, there is healing after hurt. There's healing after pain. There's healing after devastation. And Can Anybody Hear Me has helped open that up, that dialogue. I will always suggest that someone would come to one of the conferences because, like I said, it's a platform where you get to know that you are not alone. And all of your life, sometime when you go through stuff in your life, especially as a child, most of the time it's swept under the rug or it's kept secret or nobody wants to talk about it. And all the time you're walking around with this pain in your heart, and it does affect your life in a lot of different areas of your life. And because you're holding on to your truth or your hurt, and you feel like you can't express that to anybody, and you feel like nobody want to hear it. So this opens up a dialogue where you can talk to somebody. Everybody that's in the Can Anybody Hear Me circle has been through something. We all have past hurt. We've all have past pain. You might not have had things this way or that way, but there's always something that you carry with you. But this gives you a chance to get it up and get it out. Talking about it is the first step to getting help. Talking about it is the first step to getting it off of your chest. And Can Anybody Hear Me allows that to happen. And I would recommend anybody, and I tell anybody, I invite people to come because this is a place where you can just lay it on the table and open up and know that there's healing for you. There's help for you. There's healing. You don't have to suffer this alone. You don't have to go through this by yourself. There's somebody there that's gone before you and have proven that this can be done. You can be healed. You can be delivered. You can be set free. So I would recommend anybody to come to one of the conferences. When I first came to the conference, when you first come, you're a little bit unsure. You're walking to new territories, and especially when it's something that you've kept secret of your life, and you wasn't able to talk to anybody about it. But once you come in to the conference and you sit and you begin to listen and you begin to hear, and everybody makes you feel welcome. They make you feel loved. You don't feel like an outcast. You don't feel like you on an island all by yourself. They make you feel like you're wanted there and that they're there to help you. So you begin to let those guards down and you begin to go, oh, I can breathe. I could talk to somebody about this. Somebody else has been through this. So you begin to let those guards down and you begin to say, okay, I can do this. I can tell you what happened to me and you telling me what happened to you. I'm witnessing and I'm hearing people get up there and say this and this and this, and then they're telling me that this has come to fruition, and now that they're healed, oh yeah, they make you feel welcome and they make you feel like you're in a place of security. You're safe. You're surrounded with people that love you and want to help you.
Wounded but Not Forgotten is my testimony. It's my triumph. I wrote the book actually for therapy for myself. I was wounded, but God didn't forget me. Going through everything that I went through, I put it in this book. This book teaches you how to walk out your own deliverance. This book teaches you, yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. This book lets you know that there's hope in a lot of places that you don't even think there's hope. I would say reach out to Can Anybody Hear Me? My email is cananybodyhearmeministries@gmail.com. You can email us or you can call us. The number will be right below. Call us and we will get help to you. A lot of times people don't want to talk about being abused because they don't believe that people will believe their story first, and they don't know that they can trust anyone. But Can Anybody Hear Me? Hear you. You may ask, why should I come to this conference? Why should I come to Can Anybody Hear Me? Believe me, it will change your life. Doesn't matter what kind of abuse you're going through. Can Anybody Hear Me will change your life.